Don, are we ready to go? Okay. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. First item will be adoption of the agenda. Moved. On adoption, all those in favor? Motion is carried. We do have a public hearing next door at 7, but I imagine we'll get through this agenda before then, so let's see how we do. So first item would be adoption of the regular council meeting minutes of April 19th. Moved.
Second.
On adoption, all those in favor? Opposed, motion is carried. Manager report for receipts.
Move receipt.
Second.
On receipt then, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Any questions or concerns arising out of that? Go ahead.
I'm just wondering if we have any updates on the Northeast development, and specifically, has there been any communication with the development group?
CEO, I think we'll be able to answer that.
Yes, we've met with a few individual property owners and had some discussions, as well as recently staff met with the engineer that's engaged by the property owners. And we are still working with our engineer on some of the detailed design work. There's still no indication on the horizon as to when we're going to get the Phase 3 report from the ownership group. That's still one of the things that we'll need before we proceed.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Arnott?
Yeah, and I just want to, I guess, ask a couple questions about the Marina Boardwalk development. You know, last week we had our little tour down there, and the buildings look really nice and well done. And I'm wondering, as we move forward now, if we can look at, you know, in addition to multi-use, but maybe some kind of having a tenant in there for some type of retail coffee shop or something. I wonder if the town has looked at that as we've been developing these. And also, now that we're supposed to get a sunny day tomorrow, so maybe spring's upon us and we're going to have more people down there, has there been any discussion about buskers? You know, we had that many years ago, and I think that area would lead to having a real vibrancy with some music down there. And I know some communities have, they have a program where they audition buskers and see if they would fit in there. And I'm wondering, you know, we're on the cusp of summer here, and we need to grab onto something now to get this going and having a little bit of a vibrant area, because it leads to that. It's really nice. It's a nice spot, but we need something down there. And with all due respect to yoga classes and this and that, I would like to see something a little bit more, and maybe in one building and have a rental in the other building. So just thoughts on those things to this.
We do have a, I don't believe it's a busking bylaw. Shall we? Is it a bylaw?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was policy or bylaw. So we do have, and we do have a process in place where entertainers can audition. I continue to fail to make the cut, so you don't have to worry about me.
Good.
But we do have that in process, and perhaps as the construction portion wraps up, we can advertise or somehow encourage entertainers to come forward.
Right, and I agree, and I think that's what I'm looking for now, is that we start that process to start getting people engaged, so that way maybe June comes along, we'll have it all set up.
Yep.
Instead of waiting until the last brick is leveled and this and that, and then going out. I think we could do some legwork now.
Yeah.
As well as we talked about, there's a few spots for food vendors. Are we going to put something out to the public where we're going to advertise, or does that just word of mouth that, hey, there's room for one more food vending? I'm wondering what process that we have for that as well.
We have some vendors that have already expressed interest.
Okay.
And so they're patiently waiting in the wings for both the weather to improve, as well as the project to wrap up and complete. As well as we will be soliciting some feedback or seeing what interest there is in the community for vendors.
Okay, perfect. Sounds like you got it well under. Thank you.
Okay, anything else in the manager report? Councilor Kenny, do you have something?
Just as a follow-up to Russ's comments there, I missed the tour last week, and the questions might have been answered there, but for the public relations about what is available and what the usage can be, will there be something forthcoming so the public is aware of the building? Before I left, I was getting questions about that, and I just was looking forward to the tour, so I think that when the public becomes more aware of what the facility can be used to, that's a positive thing. So did I miss something there?
No, we're gearing that up, and again, we're coordinating that through the Recreation Department as they take bookings for facilities elsewhere in the town. Another approach that we're looking at is the annual capital projects open house that we will be holding at the end of May 30th, I believe. We're hoping that we can actually host that event in those two buildings this year, and again, invite the community down for essentially an unofficial look and provide additional information to those that might be interested in booking those facilities. That's kind of the initial start. We're just holding back a little bit until we're more comfortable with the level of finish the buildings will have and that we're ready to go.
Sure. And might there be consideration for something on the town website?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is the minutes of the regional district meetings, various board meetings, hospital, solid waste, all for receipt.
Move receipt.
On receipt then, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. And then for consideration of adoption is the financial plan bylaw that we gave 3 readings to last council meeting, and now before you for final adoption.
Move. Second.
Any discussion on final adoption? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And again, work by council staff on finalizing that for approval well ahead of the deadline of May 15th. And also for the tax rates bylaw for its adoption.
Move.
Second.
And all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. All right, under new business, we have the planning report for the extension of the downtown revitalization program and associated bylaw amendments. And the recommendation from staff is that we give first reading to the amendment bylaw for tax exemption.
I'll move that.
Any discussion at first reading?
I know I read this in here, but we had a couple of bites on this over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And has it proven to be somewhat successful?
We have with the Lorne Hotel site, which of course will have to be reapplied now that it's expired, in the Berwick edition. And then also a building permit fee reduction at 1653 Comox Avenue. So those are the 2 eligible development applications, plus one other one that got a reduction in fees.
So by extending this, we could entice maybe the new owners of the Lorne to move a little bit quicker and build something.
It's there and it's available for the consideration, yes.
Yeah, good, okay.
And of course, subject to the budget allowance for that. All right, anything further at first reading? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And then we have, having given it first reading and having received the report in accordance with Section 226 of the Community Charter, we have to pass a resolution that says that councillors consider the bylaw in conjunction with the objectives of policy set out in the financial plan. So a motion to that effect.
Move. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And then we give it the bylaw, the tax exemption amendment bylaw for second and third reading.
Move. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And then the associated planning procedures amendment bylaw to be given first, second, and third reading.
Move. Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. And it'll come up for adoption in 2 weeks' time, I believe. All right, so moving on to correspondence, a letter from Wendy Prothero regarding the sidewalk on Beaufort.
Second.
Receive then, all those in favor?
And just before you,
We'll receive it and then you can
Oh,
discuss it.
okay.
All those in favor? Motion's carried. And Councillor Price.
Yes, and so So can we refer this to our engineer to see,
It would, as a matter of course, be referred to staff, yes. But what are you specifically asking for?
Well, I think a very good point is raised, and it would be good to have the information on if this work is going to be happening in the near future. And
Do we have any information on when it is in the financial plan? Director of Finance, Alexander?
Your worship, that I believe is several years off in the financial plan. That section of Beaufort will be rebuilt. You'll know that issue came up related to the proposed lease of some property, some road right away across the street. So I think it's out in year 4 or 5 of the financial plan.
Design in 2021 and then construction in 22 is the current layout in the financial plan for that section.
And if we could, in that direction, the staff look at if there is any potential to move it forward and what the cost would be and how that would fit in the overall planning.
Sure. Okay, so a motion to that effect then?
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion? Councillor?
I just think the concerns are well-founded and warranted, and I certainly, if that's not the case, I'd like to hear back from staff explaining why, and update that staff would look at that fairly.
Yes, of course. Well, that's why it is in the financial plan, right? The capital plan. Okay, so any further discussion on the motion? So you got the motion, want to read it back?
Request for a staff report on the cost estimates for the sidewalk construction on Beaufort Avenue in advance of the current plan of design and construction in 2021-22.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, that'll come back to us in due course. Anything further on that letter? No, that's good. So then we have a letter from MS Barner regarding pickleball.
I won't receive that.
Receive them. In favor? Motion's carried. And at this time, to my knowledge, the matter of pickleball courts is also in the financial plan, but a few years out, and pending perhaps some solutions at a regional level.
We would refer to the regional district and it's in their outdoor master plan, or? Yeah, so it's in their plan. And frankly, this should be a regional project in my opinion anyway, so I think that it's at the right place, and you know, if they do go ahead, they'll be able to build a proper facility, whereas we would build a small one, Courtney would build a small one. At the regional board, you can get it done properly, in my opinion, if that's the direction they choose to go.
And of course, there are many places where they are currently playing both indoors and outdoors, albeit not necessarily on a permanent basis. But when we did look at it up at near the hockey box, it was quite prohibitive in terms of cost. Go ahead.
Just asking Councillor Grant's advice on that, being on the regional board. I agree with you. I think it has regional merit and deserves some support. Would it be helpful to have something sent from Comox Council, not suggesting we're passing the ball to them, but we think it's a regional concept that...
I think we've already done that. That was done.
You said it verbally.
No, we actually,
we did that formally.
it was formally done.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear something on paper.
Yes.
We passed the buck formally. It was.
Thank you.
Well, you may recall we had many submissions from Steve Chambers and others that we referred off to the regional district. So down that road, we'll see where it goes. All right, so nothing further on that other than receiving it, so we've done that. And so no other items or delegations, reports from members of council. We'll start with Councillor Price.
Yes. So, it's vanished. But I did attend the Comox Archives and Museum strategic planning process, and also I found it good. The regional district board meeting where we did ratify the committee work which has been already presented here. I was part of that tour of the Marina Park development, and it's looking very nice. The weather was very inclement, so having that sheltered space was incredible, and it's shaping up. I think the public are going to enjoy it. I attended the open house for the number 2 pump station, and that seems to be moving on. It seems to be relatively well received, or as well as can be expected, and people are looking at design criteria. They're looking at a meadow roof and design features that are...
They put a goat on it or something.
Well, I think that's what we did all so, in fact, it has a practice on it, it's nothing to do with it. But, and I did attend the ABICC convention. I was aware it was a council meeting. And I am now officially the past president, and no one ran against me, so... It's a joke. You can't lose past presidency. And that is my report.
Okay, Councillor Kenneth.
Yes, just prior to leaving on my trip, I attended the Homeless Coalition Public Relations team, met with the local press to highlight achievements and goals, mainly so that taxpayers would be aware of the accomplishments of goals with that coalition and highlighting where tax dollars may be going to. And I attended the World Masters Games in New Zealand, and a very wonderful event, but also very interesting to see in a different country that many of the issues that we have concerns about are shared. Affordable housing, addressing issues about water, about drug issues in communities, large and small, and we truly live in a global village.
All right, thank you for that. Councillor Grant.
I don't really have much to add. Our regional board meeting was the quickest one I think I've ever been to. It was sort of the A, B, and C show there, and I also toured the Marina Park, and that's about it.
Councillor Arnott.
Yeah, I attended last night on your behalf, Mayor, as the Salvation Army Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. And again, a great turnout and a lot of hard work that those folks do for all of us in the community. Had a community justice meeting and followed that with the Adrienne Clarkson dinner, which was good to hear her little speech there. Councillor Swift and Grant, Mark Grant and I had a little bit of a meeting regarding the Nautical Days parade stuff that I think we're still kind of fleshing things out, and we'll I think the costume will fit you, and we'll have that come and the Marina Park meeting last week.
Councillor Swift.
I attended the solid waste management meeting, and there are 3 things of interest. The use of the new landfill is going to begin in June. For selected materials, they need to do a bit of a sort before they can put it in. They need about 2 meters of a cushion so they don't wreck the lining. But anyway, so they're going to be beginning that. With the successful grant of organics in Campbell River, there will be a need for a commitment for our organics. They're going to be looking for commitment from the communities down here, so we'll stay tuned for that. And there's a push for regarding illegal dumping. They've identified 500 sites within the Comox-Strathcona region, and so that is kind of where what has prompted this. And it's kind of threefold: education, fining, and reporting. And you can go on the CBRD website, and they created a couple of little videos to look at. I attended the Regional Hospital Board, and there's really nothing new there, except we're getting closer and closer to the opening. And the newly formed parade committee, and the tour of the buildings last week, and then I worked at McDonald's for an hour this morning. It was nice to see the renovations from last year, and it's great that the money is being earmarked for services in our valley. And that's my report.
Okay, great, thanks. Just report on the things that I've attended since the last council. I attended This is the third or fourth year now I've done the Premier's Public Service Awards judging, and so I was in Victoria for that. Came back on the way, stopped at the Vancouver Real Estate Board Commercial Building Awards. Picked up the award for the City of Courtenay for the Fire Training Center. I think it's still being held hostage by our firefighters. So that's good. And certainly encourage staff to put forward our new buildings at the waterfront as possible contenders for next year's award, along with the there's a green category, green project category for the Lazo Road foreshore project. So hopefully we can put those forward for next year's awards. Marina Park tour, as mentioned, Community Justice Center event with Adrian Clarkson and Dr. Ralston Saul. And then also attended in Richmond last Thursday, the local government contract management committee meeting for the RCMP contract. And there's obviously always concerns about cost drivers coming our way. Recently the wage settlements that were initiated, and I guess concerns expressed by myself on behalf of smaller communities is the overall ability to pay for whatever increases are going to come down the pipe. And there's, of course, a movement towards collective bargaining towards the RCMP, so we'll see how that goes. What else? BC Cancer Foundation had a fundraising lunch here at the Blackfin yesterday. Attended that, and they're looking at bringing what's called a PET scan to Victoria. They're looking to raise $5 million within the Vancouver Island area. They've raised 3 to this point, and they'll get costs that matched by the provincial government. And apparently over 1,700 people last year went to Vancouver to have the PET scan done. So interesting to see. Remember a number of years ago moving here, it was all about getting CAT scans, so now it's the next level. The McHappy Day event went well today. I was there for the last hour just before council and managed to not spill anything, so it was good. And again, the cause for that principally is the Comox Valley Child Development Center, so good to see that. And their goal is, I think, $10,000 for 2 days. Hopefully we'll get there. And Economic Development had its quarterly board meeting, and just to note it for your calendars, their AGM is coming up on May 25th, Thursday. There'll be an email going around. It'll be held at the Comox First Nations gym, I think. And the guest speaker for that will be Graham Truax, talking about high-tech industry and what communities can do to help support that. So that'll be a timely topic, given some of the other things we've been considering. And I believe that's my report. So we'll ask if there's any questions from the media. Any questions from members of the public? So we will entertain a motion to adjourn, and then, of course, at 7 o'clock tonight, over at the stair will be the public hearing. So, motion to adjourn. All those in favor?